totally agree. It's the best. It's the best kind of, for many schools. This situation, this extraordinary situation, has kind of pulled forward digital strategy in most
Yeah.
schools by about 5 years.
Yeah,
But the fantastic thing is, it's a fact, you know. But
absolutely. Yeah.
the fantastic thing, it's the best CPD, the professional development we could have offered any teachers, because as you quite correctly said, going back into the classroom, sorry, back into school again, hopefully the review of what's just gone on for the past 2 months, that was really cool. I'm going to keep that. That didn't work. I'll leave that.
Right.
I now appreciate being in front of screen a lot of the time, and I'm expecting students to work on laptops and do what. No,
Yeah.
that's not such a great idea. Possibly, is the ergonomics good? They need to shut down,
Right.
stand up, and walk around a bit,
Right.
or whatever you decide to do. And for me, especially, it's like if a student walks into a classroom and opens up their pencil case, going old school, whether they take out a laptop, a mobile phone, a pen and paper to do the essay, I actually don't care. They can use
good.
it. And there's a time when we can direct them. We need you to do this because I'm doing computer-aided design, or I'm, doing some audio-visual in languages. But as long as they get the thing done, and I think that's the thing which I'm hoping this whole period of not change, but this period of uncertainty for many colleagues, some of them duck to water, will open their eyes. It's just a tool. It's just a way of, we've accessed it this time. We might have, there might be someone when we get a James Bond type situation, someone hacks in and we have no more electricity for a couple of months. What do you do? Go back to paper and pencil again. Rock and roll, by candle. You just have to.
And there'll be some element as well of not knowing what exactly is happening on the other end of the call, right? So like when we're on a video call like this now, sure, I mean, we can make eye contact and we can have a productive conversation. And because there's only the two of us on this conversation, we can stay relatively focused. But when you've got a class of X number of students where you can't really maintain a proper level of focus on all of the students at all times because they're around the screen, and you also can't really see, right? So you can see that little box that the person's face is in, but you can't really see what they're doing, what's going on with their hands. And so there will be elements of me as a teacher not knowing exactly how the student is tackling certain tasks, whether they're typing or writing with their hand. I might not know whether they are, sitting quietly because they're thinking, sitting quietly because they're thinking about the answer, or sitting quietly because they're reading an entry on the internet to give them some inspiration. I won't always know what's going on. And there's an element of that is a loss of control, perhaps, for the teacher, and they might see that as a loss of control and be fearful of that. But there's also, again, hopefully, a recognition there that, well, okay, I don't know exactly what they're doing on the other side of the call, but it seems to all be going okay. And a realization that maybe 100% control isn't absolutely necessary for effective learning. A little bit of freedom isn't going to do any harm. And maybe when the students get back, we can just give them a little bit more freedom because they've had freedom for months and done okay with it.
That's wow. It's a really good point, Carl. I think the elements of anxiety that creep in for some teachers is I hesitate to say trust, but it is, what's Carl doing now while I'm talking to him? And there's two things driven by that. There's obviously are they looking at something that they shouldn't be looking at, and that type of thing, or are they sending an inappropriate email or text or WhatsApp or whatever it might be.
Right.
But there has to be an element with this where there has to be an element, there has to be trust.
No way of knowing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And there is an element of risk, but I actually quite like that. I mean, with everything in education, like elsewhere, the vast majority, 95% of it works really well. It's cool. It's only that 5%. I don't know if it's accurate, but there's a small bit at the end who, if they're in the playground, they do something wrong, or they're the ones breaking the fire alarm, or they're the ones. But it's the minority. It's not the majority. The majority are getting on really well. And I've been really impressed actually with the way students, not just here, because we homeschool our youngest 16-year-old girl. She's homeschooled. They get on with it. They are diligent. They are interested. And when they're at home, there can be distractions. I mean, if I haven't been teaching this year, but if I've got a class going on and I log on to Teams and I've got my class